Hello and welcome to the Service-Based Business Society podcast. I am your host, Tiffany-Ann. On our weekly episodes, we will dig into everything you need to know about scaling your service-based business without losing sleep. With my experience in creating over 7 figures per month and a passion for marketing, finance, and automation, this show will provide tangible tips and techniques for scaling your business. Let's get started. Talking about the rise of the robots. Okay, so they're not quite robots, but it really all starts to have these robot-like personalities in our minds when people are talking about AI, ChatGPT, Jasper. There's so many different pieces. AI is now built right into Canva. That is how mainstream some of these tools are becoming. And by them being mainstream, you need to know about them as entrepreneurs. So I've always wanted this podcast to be a place where you can rely on the content to talk about what is going on in business, social media, all these different tools, tech. Really, it is the source for information that you need. And so, depending on which side of social media you're on, you may or may not already be getting filled with information about ChatGPT and AI and prompts and all these different pieces. So much so that you might be thinking, hey, I don't know anything about this. I don't want to know anything about this. I'm not using it for my business. Why is everybody talking about it? Or maybe you're a little bit AI curious and you think I should know about this, but I don't. Maybe it can save me time, but I don't want to learn a new tool. So some interesting facts. I actually did a huge study on this specific type of AI machine learning that is currently being used for tools like ChatGPT, Canva, Jasper, all of these things, back about 2 years ago as part of my MBA. So I know a fair bit about the actual technology in behind a lot of these tools and its limitations, its pros, its cons, and whatnot. What has changed in the last 2 years is the fact that this space just continues to evolve at such a scary rate. And so much of what has really come out most recently is the image components. So writing long-form content, scripts, social media captions, and whatnot with AI is not a new thing. This has been going on for quite some time. Yes, it has gotten better, but it's not new. The ability to use AI for photo editing, photo creation, creating images is a newer piece that I think has a bigger part to play in entrepreneurship on the wider scale. A lot of people are not either comfortable enough to use it for writing or they don't write enough to make it worth learning. You have to use it's like anything in your business, deciding, hey, am I going to learn this? Am I going to invest in this? Am I going to use it enough to make it worthwhile? But because a lot of the imagery type pieces are built now right into Canva, which is one of my number one entrepreneurship tool recommendations, I think everyone's going to be using it. And a little foreshadowing, a little bit of sneak peek, Canva is going to be making some announcements about some super cool AI photo editing pieces in addition to what they've already released. And why is AI imagery, why is this even a thing? So we've all tried to either develop, social media posts or whatever, where you wanted a specific look and you just couldn't find the photo for it. Maybe you wanted a flat lay. So if you're not familiar, a flat lay is that style of photo that's taken from overhead. A lot of times, in our agency content, you'll do a desktop office type flat lay. It'll have a notebook, a phone, a pen, yada, yada. And you want it to have a specific colors, brand type image. You want it to have a certain look. Well, here's the thing. You can either do your own flat lays, which are not as easy as you would think. Been there, done that, tried it. Or, you can work with the flat lays that are part of the systems. There are photographers out there making just, flat lays. If you are looking for specific flat lays, you can often go to Etsy, and they're basically something that, photographers have taken and hopefully something that they have lines up with what you're visioning. But here's where AI changes the game. You can ask it to design your own flat lays. You can ask it to design an office space that aligns with what you're looking for. You can ask it to change things about a certain picture. You could ask it to make a more artistic version of a photo. All of these types of things are now possible with AI. There is new technology for editing photos for photographers using AI. There is, just this week, I saw something where if you upload a bunch of photos of yourself and ask this AI tool to generate new headshots for you based on the photos, and these might, a photo in your car, or photo, at a sporting game, different photos, different places that show your facial structure and whatnot. It can generate these beautifully professional looking photo headshots. This technology is not going anywhere, and it's really time to think about the different effects it can have on your business. So, rewind a little back to when AI writing was a little less common. Now, I have been Jasper certified. So Jasper was one of the first bigger names on the scene in this space, and I was Jasper certified in using Jasper to write long form content for quite some time. To this date, in my experience, Jasper has a higher quality output and is often more customizable because the outputs are a little bit shorter. So you are giving it more prompts and it's giving you shorter responses. And the end result is typically, there are some tools now to detect AI writing. And so when comparing a tool such as Jasper to something more like ChatGPT, which everyone is talking about online right now, Jasper does a better job at creating undetectable content. That's because you're giving it more information. Something is more custom. ChatGPT is going to give you you can ask it to write you an 800-word response. But, in my experience, when I've tested the responses of different tools, ChatGPT is often more detectable by an AI writing detection tool. Oftentimes people will say, a lot of this content is just plagiarized from other parts of the internet. Funny enough, it's not written in a way that it's pulling chunks of text from any one place. And so, through a lot of writing and testing and whatnot, I don't, in my experience, have not found that a lot of this text is ever coming up in a plagiarism checker. If you plagiarism, way back in the day before the internet was so mainstream, was a lot more difficult to detect. I when I was doing my MBA and I was thinking about it, because so if we think back to, even when I was in high school, that, plagiarism was really more detected by different teachers thinking, this isn't a typical writing style for this person, or this seems not, out of place or whatnot. That was the extent of this. Now, I mean, even by the time I finished my MBA, when we submitted a paper, it was uploaded, and before we could actually submit, there was a plagiarism inspection done on the paper, and it was looking for, number of words in a row that were found in any other place on the internet, including, every other paper that had ever been uploaded to that same system. And other systems, across, like, the universities are connected. So different. And so really this same piece, when you're uploading content to your website, you're wanting, it's obviously not as formal as an education type piece, but you don't want to have duplicated plagiarized content. In my experience, AI does not provide duplicated plagiarized content because you're asking it to write in a specific tone, because you're giving it different prompts. All of these different pieces together create this different content. Now, if you are using AI generated content for something like social media, well, there's nothing there that's going to penalize you if that is, even verbatim from somewhere else. Not to say you should do that, but you can, there's a lot of different creators out there that plagiarize content all the time: videos, graphics, copy, text, all of that. And they're very successful. Social media. So you can take content. So in terms of where to use AI generated content, social media captions is a great place. That's, not going to be penalized for AI generated content. It's not going to be penalized for plagiarized, even if that was the case. Now, I'm going to repeat, I have done a lot of testing and a lot of checking of this content, and I don't ever seem to have a problem with plagiarized content. I will say that ChatGPT content often gets picked up as AI generated in these testing tools. So where do we want to use this? Where do we not want to use this? Well, like I said, social media is a great place to get started. You can ask ChatGPT for different social media captions. I find, tip here, that asking for social media captions typically gets a very short result, couple of sentences with some emojis. Great thought kickstarters. Really, I think that's where any of these AI tools, any of them, offer the biggest strength is getting your mind going. Asking for 20 social media caption ideas, and then taking some of those and asking it to expand them, and then you expanding them further, personalizing, adding in a few pieces. That's where you're going to get the best result. If you simply ask, any of these AI tools, the expensive ones, the cheap ones, the free ones, doesn't really matter. If you ask them for 20 social media captions, chances are you're going to get something very vanilla. I've seen, AI content discussed so much online. And, one of the cons people talk about is, well, it doesn't know my brand. It doesn't know how I talk. It doesn't, it's missing the brand personality piece. And while that may be true in some instances, others will rebut and say, no, you can train it. You can provide it other writing samples, etc. You can. I still don't think it does the best job picking up. In terms of brand, personality, capturing these types of things, your biggest strength will be determining your tone of voice for your writing. So, we use these different tools for all sorts of different things. And in some instances, we use a tone of voice that is very different from another tone of voice. So, for instance, we can ask, any of the AI writing tools to write in a sassy, confident tone. We could ask the AI writing tool to write about the same topic in a, intellectual, engaging tone. You're going to get two very different responses. And so for anyone who's saying, I don't, it can't pick up my brand personality and whatnot, I think what the actual question here is, do you know your brand personality tone? Because if you do, you will have much better success using any of the AI writing tools. So if you have established, the purpose of the content, again, I mean, every different topic, this one single thing I say can be applied to, and that is, what is the objective? If you are writing blog content for SEO purpose, that is a very different objective than SEO style captions for YouTube. It is another completely different purpose than social media captions. So knowing what the objective of the text is really then lends as to which tool you should be using and in what way. There's all sorts of AI stuff coming out. Microsoft has got AI stuff that has just come out. Google is chasing them with their new AI piece. We've got the originals on the scene. Jasper, that used to be Jarvis, that used to be conversation.ai, which was one of my original tools. You've got AI SEO tools, you've got AI photo editing tools, all of these different pieces. How does this all fit into your business? How do you not get overwhelmed? Here's my thing. If you can learn the prompts that are required for AI writing, you can learn how to use any of the tools, because they're all slightly different, but really with the right prompts, you can play around with it to get your right result. If you want to play around, ChatGPT is a great place to start because they do have a free version, or it's super low cost. If you are looking to level up and go for something that can write, in my opinion, a higher quality product, Jasper is a great option. If you would like 10,000 words free on Jasper, you can actually go on our website and click on to tech stack recommendations, and we actually have a Jasper button. Gives you 10,000 words for free. You're more than welcome to try it out. They have some great different output options built right into the Jasper platform that something like ChatGPT just does not have. So a great option to play around with. But if you learn the prompts, I think you can get most of it done with ChatGPT, which is, of course, less expensive. So like I said, for the average entrepreneur who doesn't know much about AI, who's just feeling like everyone's talking about this piece and you're not sure where to start, Canva. Canva has these new AI tools, and there will be so many videos coming out because Canva just did their big product feature launch for this year. So, soon to come to social media feed near you will be the DL on all of these different tools. But what this entire kind of summary of AI, machine learning, and whatnot, what it should tell you is lean in, keep an eye out, and if you are interested, don't be afraid to jump in and give it a try, because I think you'll find that it will save you some time. and it will give you some ideas. Oftentimes people will say, well, I tried it once and the information it gave me was wrong or it didn't know. Use it for ideas. Use it to play around with other things that you maybe aren't sure about. Ask it to write you some content about a specific part of your business, even just come up with some social media ideas. You can ask it to expand things. You can ask it to rewrite things in a different tone of voice. No matter what it is, just be willing to give it a try because you don't want to snooze on this opportunity. Because I'm telling you, even if you're fairly tech adverse and you're like, I don't know about all of this, I'm just going to hold off. This will be very mainstream in a very short period of time. And I don't think you should sleep on it. So, well, guys, this is a short but information-packed episode all about, the rise of the robots, machine learning, AI in your business. Next week is our final episode of season 2 of the Service-Based Business Society podcast. And we're going to be diving into all the things we've learned, what is up next for the podcast, and all sorts of goodies. So I'm going to leave it here for today, and we'll see you next week.
Well, we are all out of time for today. If you guys have not joined the Service-Based Business Society Facebook community, make sure you head on over to Facebook and we can continue the conversation. Be sure to also follow the show by going to any podcast app and searching Service-Based Business Society, click subscribe, click the 5th star, and leave us a written review. Have a great week, and we will see you soon.